We're on a mission from God.
Wendy?
So I got that going for me.
Darling?
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Light of my life.
We enjoy your films.
I am a human being.
I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
Welcome to Vintage Video, where we're rewatching the 80s so you don't have to. We'll be reviewing every major film release of the 1980s in real time. I'm Patrick O'Reilly.
I'm Jesse Bayless.
And I'm Richard Wells.
And today marks the 40th anniversary of the release of The Mountain Men on June 1st, 1980. It was written by Fraser, Clarke, Heston, no relation, just kidding, he's Charlton's son, directed by Richard Lang, and released by Columbia Pictures. Fraser, Clarke, Heston, the son of actor Charlton Heston, began working on the screenplay after living among Alaskan Eskimos and Native Americans.
Yeah. I believe that the proper term is Inuit.
So I assume he was just in this as a favor to his son, or was his son an accomplished filmmaker prior to this?
Not super accomplished, no.
Okay.
The working title was Wind River, which was later used for a Jeremy Renner film in 2017. It's very good.
Yeah.
It has Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch in it.
It's also about Native Americans.
Well, I was going to say, does it have any story points in line with this?
It's basically the same story, but it takes place in present day. It's totally different. It's a murder mystery thing.
It's very good.
It is. And the film was also briefly called Last of the Mountain Men, which I actually think would be better than The Mountain Men.
I agree
because
with
it
that.
plays into the whole summary of the film. Heston later said that the film you saw was not what we conceived or shot. That's what he said.
We shot a totally different film. I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened. It was a sci-fi movie. It took place largely on a moon. No, he said, we compromised. My son's script was much darker, and it emphasized the sort of autumnal recognition that they earned as trappers. I confess that I miss that aspect bitterly. My son found it difficult to swallow. He poured everything into the script and resented the changes. But all artists compromise. Every one of my films could have been better. Every one of them. My son learned that the people who put up the money control the film. When we saw the final cut, he was heartbroken. I could have walked out. I could have put everything on the line, but I don't like to do that. It was the director's first feature, and I don't like to throw my weight around, but maybe I should have. Maybe I made a mistake.
So what is he saying changed about it?
I assume they find the valley? Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves. I shouldn't spoil anything.
Well, if it's darker, I would guess not. But we start the film with a very silent Columbia logo that made me think that I was doing something wrong. And then an eagle is soaring over some snowy mountains. Bill, as played by Charlton Heston, is wading through a river with a gun when someone fires on him. Or later, I guess, someone fires on him. No, right here in the river.
Well, yeah, he's checking traps, and then he gets descended upon while under fire, assuming it's either...
local
Indians or someone out to kill him.
He seems pretty convinced that there are Crow nearby, the tribe Crow nearby, Crow Indians.
Right.
And so a shot is fired over his head, and he starts to run away and is very quickly engaged in a chase. The chaser catches up with him, and they crash. Their horses all do flips.
Oh my God.
And they crash into the river.
It's horrifying. The horse stunts in this movie are just hard to watch because I would not be surprised if several horses died in the making of this film.
If they killed horses on the set of Luck, that show about just racing horses at Santa Anita, then there's no way they didn't kill five horses in this scene.
Yeah, there's at least like 3 full horse somersaults that could easily have ended in broken legs and necks and stuff.
And they originally had, is it the ASPCA, the Animal Protection people, had issued like a statement like, oh, this movie did a really good job and all the animals were cared for and taken well care for.
With this movie?
Yes. But then they saw the final cut of the movie because the cut that they were shown previously didn't have any of the somersaulting horses.
Okay, that's not how
so they retracted it.
I was going to say, that is not how you clear a film. You clear a film by being on set because, of course,
they were on set.
Yeah.
But they weren't on set when that stuff was happening.
I guess because you should be on set whenever an animal's being used, because otherwise they're not going to show you the footage where the horse dies.
Right. And also, apparently, it's impossible to get a horse to do that unless there's a trip line involved. So that's literally how they're getting these horses to go end over end. Yes.
Oh, that makes it so much worse.
That's like it's like the long riders where you can only get them to go through a window once.
Yeah. You can train them to jump through the same shaped rectangle over and over again, but they'll only go through the window in that shape one time.
That makes me really angry because I was like, okay, well, it was an accident, but you at least you got to use the footage, and it's terrible that it happened, and you should be more careful next time. But they did it on purpose.
Right.
They're monsters.
Now here, let's make it even one step worse.
Oh, good.
You're not doing it to raise a bunch of money. You're just doing it to prank your friend. That's what the guy in this movie was doing.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Like, it's literally just, he's crashing these horses full speed end over end into this river as a joke on his friend. Because he's like, ha, you thought you were going to die, and I killed a bunch of our horses. Get it?
And that's what he says when he gets up.
Damn fool! You could have killed my horse!
And he probably did. And there's one that's like laying on the ground, probably dead in the background of this shot anyway.
Yeah, or if they weren't dead, you had to euthanize them afterwards.
But this is Frapp. Frapp man, and his name is Frapp, and James Frapp, Henry Frapp. Henry Frapp was playing a prank on his good buddy Bill, and killing horses as a goof. He asks how he's doing. Bill tells him that there's some Crow Indian nearby, and Frapp says they are Blackfoot, but you were close. And they argue about that for a while because they both think they're experts.
But they ultimately both end up being right.
Right. But
Yeah,
that's a spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
Well,
Hold on, Richard. We haven't gotten there yet. It's a very important spoiler.
I know, but
it affects the trajectory of the whole film.
It's important to note, though, because their argument is that they're both right.
To it. Right now, they're just arguing.
So I just want to ask, are we going to spend this entire podcast saying Indian instead of Native American?
Yes, we are. Because that was the proper terminology in the early 1800s, I guess.
So we're just sticking to the date in which the film was supposed to take place.
We've said Indian and Native American. I guess we should pick one. I don't mean...
I'm going to say Indian because that's what they keep saying in the movie.
Well, they say Injun.
Yeah.
So
okay,
if you
I'll
want
say
to be
Injun.
accurate.
They also refer to themselves as N-words several times.
Yeah.
The Injuns do?
No, the Frapp.
Frapp refers to himself as an N-word?
Yes, he does.
A couple of times.
I had to rewind it and put on subtitles. I was like, wait, did he just... Wow, what?
I don't know. Maybe it meant something different.
Well, you know how like Irish people weren't considered white until like the early 1900s?
I think the easiest way to do this is just to refer to them as their tribe name, the Crow or the Blackfeet.
Yeah. Is Blackfeet the plural?
What, Blackfoot?
I don't know.
Blackfoots?
Blackfoots. I don't know. We're gonna.
No, they are Blackfoot. There's no.
Or are
there's
they
no,
Blackfeet?
No, the plural of Blackfoot is Blackfoot.
Blackfoot, goddammit!
Bill asks Henry Frapp what beaver skins are going for, and apparently they're $5 everywhere. He hasn't checked in with society lately. He's been out in the wilderness just collecting for the last couple years. He hasn't made it out to the rendezvous, which is like a gathering of tradesmen.
Well, and I have to say, my experience with Red Dead Redemption 2, beaver furs, that's $5 is a pretty high price.
Is it? So that takes place even later then maybe?
Red Dead 2 does, yeah.
Yeah. Because he only ends up getting quoted about 3 when they get to the rendezvous, but spoiler alert. If there's this one line from Henry here, Henry's sitting on the log next to him, and he says that they need to hit up the rendezvous soon because he says,
If I don't get some whiskey soon, I'm gonna die!
he just like shouts it like a weirdo.
I hope that was like his choice.
Yeah,
like, because,
I really want everyone on set to have been like, what the fuck was that?
Because like the director, like they kept going, Brian, you need to do it again, but yeah, you need to have like a little bit more intensity to it. You're not doing it right.
We need to believe that you need whiskey. You got to make us believe that you need the whiskey.
I feel like this is the Kevin Sorbo disappointed.
Disappointed!
Which the rumor for that is that he literally was reading like the parenthetical of the line. Like he was reading the line and he was supposed to just be disappointed, but he just said, disappointed. That's so great. I'm sure that's not true, but I love that legend. They disagree again about which Indians are nearby. Bill asks for some baccy. He wants a tongue full of baccy. Presumably that's code for tobacco. Once he gets it from Frapp, he punches him out and knocks him into the river. They head back to their horses, the surviving horses, where we are introduced to Nat Wyeth, or Nat Wyatt.
Nathan Wyeth, yeah.
Yeah, but they sometimes call him Nat here. Nathan Wyeth, he's an ice merchant based on a real person. I forget the guy's name, but it's pretty close to Nathan Wyeth.
It's Frigidaire.
Frigidaire, that's his name.
I think they call him Christoph.
Right, yeah, that's right. And this was later adapted into a musical. But he's an ice merchant, and
he's very nice. He's a really nice guy.
No. He's a friend of Frapp's. They've been traveling together for a while, and he says he's going to set up trade and farming in Oregon. He predicts that the Oregon Trail will happen. He's just like,
yeah.
I bet that there's going to be a trail that leads from St. Louis, Missouri to Oregon. I'll bet you $1.
I thought for sure that the joke was going to be he was going to be going with his wagon train of the Donner Party.
Right.
I thought for sure that they were going to mention he was traveling with the Donners.
That'd be great. But no, he just keeps saying, oh man, Oregon's going to be so great. I'm going to set up all this cool stuff in Oregon.
Build a hotel up on the mountain.
Right. And this is, it's going to be wonderful. And at the same time, Bill is basically arguing over the top of him with protestations that Oregon sucks. You can't grow anything there because it sucks, and it's a suck bill. They reach the rendezvous point, and in place of the people that should be there, there's a note inviting them closer to society, where they have white women now. So that night they hear sounds near the camp.
Rendezvous point, now featuring white women.
Yes.
Hey, where are the white women at?
They're like so in disbelief for this. They're like, there aren't even women on this side of the Continental Divide. That night they hear sounds near the camp, and they argue over what the cause of the sound is, but eventually decide that it's either the Blackfoot tribe or the Crow nearby, and that they are stealing their horses. But in the morning when we fade up, Bill is already coming back with the horses because he has already successfully stolen them all back.
Right.
Seems to be a game they play back and
Yes.
forth.
And then Cross Otter and a couple other people from the Crow tribe come up to the lake across from them, and they send hand signals back and forth to communicate. Cross Otter wants the horses back. They argue back and forth about who stole them first from the other person. And then eventually Cross Otter says that he just wants to come over and smoke a pipe and have peace, and that they'll leave. So they start to come across the lake, and they're still arguing about who the horses started with when one of Cross Otter's fellow Crow tribesmen gets hit with an arrow.
Right through the neck.
Yeah. There's this hilarious scene played for slapsticky comedy of the Blackfoot tribe and the Crow tribe firing at each other, and these mountain men caught in the middle, and they're all like jokey about it. And one of the Blackfoot guys like moons them from across the river and says, "I crap on the grave of your fathers," and then they shoot him, and then they laugh hysterically at his body falling over after they shot him
To kill him.
Right.
Like, these people are being killed.
Yeah, there's death happening all around them, but they're all laughing about it and making fun of each other. Wyatt's just standing there watching it until he gets an arrow in the heart.
I just took an arrow. I can see that.
It looks like. And he's just like, I have taken an arrow in the chest. And that's when Jess was
that's what I said. I was once an adventurer like you.
And I took an arrow in the knee.
Then I took an arrow to the chest. Bill just yanks it out of his chest, and he points out like, oh, look, it's not even in that deep. You're fine. And he's like, oh, yeah, you're right. And then he passes out and just falls over. Backup rolls in. We have a bunch more Crow show up to save the day.
Oh, Wyatt does get one good shot off with the with the double barrel. Gives him both barrels.
Yeah, and there's also the Bill takes one shot at, because one of the Blackfoot Indians gets so close that he's like already attacking Wyatt, and then Bill fires his ramrod through the Indian because he was like still reloading his gun, and he fires the ramrod and it just pierces through the guy's back and he pulls him off. Apparently I'm going to keep saying Indian because it's too hard to avoid saying it in this movie. Bill brings one of the Blackfoot women that they left behind But it turns out that she's not actually Blackfoot. She was taken by their tribe. But Wyeth stands next to her and pronounces her dead right before she kicks him in the face and gets up to run away. But Bill stops her because she's actually running toward the Blackfoot tribe that she's trying to get away from. And he's like, if you're going to have the common sense to run, at least do it away from the people that are trying to capture you. And he points her in the opposite direction, but she just sits down because she realizes, oh, these people aren't trying to hurt me. So maybe I'll just hang out here for a second.
Well, she's damned if she do, damned if she don't.
Right.
Like if she goes back to the Blackfoot, she's going to be back with the guy that's beating her. If she goes to the Crow, they'll kill her. So she's got no choice but just to stay with these guys who don't seem to.
Now, why would the Crow kill her?
Because she was with the Blackfoot.
Yeah, they just killed a whole bunch of Blackfoot.
Yeah, but she wasn't she like kidnapped and stolen over there? Like she's not.
But she
her
was
choice.
fighting with them. She was part of their group that staged that attack just now. So
yes, I don't know. I feel like
she's not
being held against her will.
But she's not one of the Crow. So.
But she was a Crow.
Was she? I don't know.
I think she was a different tribe.
Was she?
Yeah, that her tribe is dead. She's the last of her tribe.
Okay, never mind. I thought she was a Crow.
So far in 1980, this is our third last of their tribe Native American characters after Nothing Personal and Johnny Eagle from Humanoids from the Deep.
Well, he had other people.
I thought we decided that he was suing for the rights to continue fishing, even though there was no other Native Americans in the whole city. But they had like a contract for this specific bay. So she sits down around the fire with them and kind of tells her story.
Yeah, we have a scene with Heavy Eagle talking to his elders.
Right. Heavy Eagle was her husband, and he goes to meet with his like chief, right?
Well, they just say elder. I mean, whether he's the chief or not, it seems like Heavy Eagle is calling the shots.
Yeah. But he sits down with him and he says that he's going to keep going after these guys until he gets his wife back because he plans on killing these guys.
Yeah, even though the elder is like, you don't even care about her. You treat her, can we say what he says? He says how you treat her. Like he doesn't treat her very well. Like I referenced Game of Thrones with how Khaleesi was at first with the Dothraki before she became into power.
Yeah. I think he says coyote bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say it.
I wanted to desperately. So we cut back to the campfire where she's telling them that she was sold to the Blackfoot tribe and is a wife/slave to one of their warriors. That's Heavy Eagle. She learned English at Fort Mackenzie, and she says she does not want to go back to Heavy Eagle. She climbs under the blanket with Bill, and she says that her name is Running Moon, and he tells her his name. We see Heavy Eagle like standing next to a lake, and he picks up a rock and just slices his chest open.
Yep.
Not sure why. Maybe he was just itchy.
What?
And he got overzealous. Oh, that's better. It doesn't itch anymore.
Spot.
Running Moon wakes up the next morning, and they're all gone. They just left her in a blanket.
Is that a thing that can happen? I feel like this is like a trope where you have an entire campsite that you have to pack up in complete silence to keep from someone waking up.
Yeah, I would definitely have done this.
You have to walk all the animals really quietly away.
Yeah, you don't start them until you're like 200 feet away. you just put all the horses in neutral.
Idle and just push.
Yeah. Put it in neutral. Because this is from Hey Dude.
Start your horse and come along.
Oh, there you go. Frapp and Bill race into town in search of whiskey. They're just screaming and running their horses full speed into the tents.
Oh my god!
At the rendezvous.
It's amazing when he first runs into the tent. You see he like smacks the whiskey sign and breaks it in half and it falls down.
He's just like,
Whiskey!
shouting it as he comes in.
But like he's not the only crazy person. Like the entire camp is going bonkers.
Yeah, it's like Burning Man.
Yeah, and when he gets in, because there's like a makeshift tent that is serving the purpose of this bar, but he just rides his horse completely into it and completely knocks the tent over.
Yeah. But no one's upset.
Yeah,
Like, this
they're
is
all
just
just like
like,
laughing
yeah,
about
this
it.
is
Even the
just a thing.
bartender doesn't care.
I don't even there's so much chaos happening here. I'm like, how is anybody actually conducting any real business in this camp, which is the whole point of this place.
There's like just people having sex like in
All over
like,
the place.
all over the place, and
Well, they just got that product in, so. Bill tries to sell some beaver pelt, and the guy offers him $3. Is this Fontenelle?
yeah.
This soft baby head guy offers him $3, and he doesn't go for it. He's like, I'm going to hold on to it until it's worth less. I got a good feeling about this.
in my soft spot right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's because silk is the new thing.
right. Silk as soft as a baby's skull. And
The guys don't actually know what silk is.
No,
Well,
they
one of
don't.
them
Well,
does.
one of
He's-
them
he's
does.
like,
It comes from worms.
It's made out of worms.
yeah, you just grind them up and paint them, and you got yourself a silk hat. The guy is taking more for buffalo and silk right now, and that's blowing Bill's mind because buffalo used to not be worth anything. Now it's worth a lot because they've killed so many of them that it's harder to find. So
That's supply and demand.
here's what you got to do: kill more beavers. Medicine Wolf, an old friend of Bill's, does tricks through town and then crashes backward into a branch. It's like a signpost, and falls off of his horse and hurts himself pretty badly.
And he like sits up, and the words out of his mouth is,
Everyone laughs at the guy when he sits up, and then Bill pours a bunch of alcohol down his throat, and he yells "goddamn" again, and then passes out and probably dies of a coma.
no, he comes
No,
back.
he's fine, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't have let him go to sleep right
Yeah,
here.
Yeah,
I
he's
suppose.
concussed for
Yeah.
sure.
This is
I don't feel
when
like,
you.
I don't feel like goddamn is in the character of, a Native American to say.
I don't even know if he's actually supposed to be Native American. I did
he
enjoy
is.
us coming up with, like, what's this guy's name again? And you're like,
kept-
Medicine Ball?
I kept calling him Medicine Ball.
But, yeah. But Medicine and Bill and Frapp go to talk to Iron Belly because they want a solution to this problem about beaver being too cheap. And he tells them the legend of this mythical beaver valley. It's just overflowing with beaver, and they're fighting with each other to get into your traps.
This film is just full of euphemisms.
Yeah, it is.
I do like that he's supposedly so old that he's wearing like conquistador armor.
Yes, which is why they call him Iron Belly, because he's actually got like a lead
Chest plate.
Yeah. Bill and Frapp suspect that this mystical beaver village area is what the Blackfoot tribe have been guarding. It's why that they're getting particularly violent in this area.
What are they doing with the beavers?
It's gross. We don't have to talk about it. No. I don't know what they're doing. I feel like it's kind of like the beavers are just sacred to them. When Heavy Eagle is talking to his chief, or whatever we're going to call that guy, he says, they're here to kill our beavers. And like, that's the most serious accusation that he levels at these guys. And even like the chief is like, yeah, you're right. We got to do something, I guess. But it seems like they care a lot about the beavers just staying alive, which is maybe why there's so many of them in this magic valley. They pay him for the information, and then he rapes a young Indian girl.
That seemed pretty consensual, although he was
She was a child.
But although he was very gross.
Yes. The next day, Running Moon kicks Bill in the nuts after a very short fight for leaving her behind. A tradesman is making fun of them. He's laughing at Bill for losing the fight so quickly because he's not willing to fight back, really. And then Bill attacks that guy and throws him against a wagon. We'll see this guy again later.
Yeah.
Wyeth leaves to start his ice selling business in Oregon.
Oregon.
The way they pronounce it makes it sound more like a shape that I'm not familiar with.
Never to be seen again.
Yes,
not for
very
death,
sad.
but he's out of the story.
No, I liked him.
I have a feeling that the darker version of the story is
He didn't make it out of?
that he doesn't make
Yeah.
it out.
We're like, well, at least we have this ice to keep his body in one piece until it gets to Oregon, where his children are waiting for it. Running Moon prepares a meal for the men. She's become their wife now, and they're maybe at least less abusive than Heavy Eagle, but still not great husbands.
She seems very eager to please
Yeah,
them, like
because she's written by men.
yeah.
And that's their fantasy, as a girl that will just do everything for them. And she's rubbing Bill's feet by a fire, and they continue. It's pretty gross. Charlton has this 70-year-old feet.
Well, it's not just
and he's a mountain man.
Yeah, just the implication of this guy. He's probably got all kinds of parasites and fungus and
he's probably got that
ringworm.
What's his name? The aviator feet.
I was gonna say Mr. Deed's feet.
Either one of them works. She tells them that she's heard this legend about the Beaver Valley since childhood, but it's only a legend. And suddenly Bill is being pursued by Blackfoot warriors. He gets shot at, I think, by them. Do they shoot at him? Do they have guns?
They do have guns. I don't remember if this is when they shoot at him. I remember
he turns and shoots back, and he kills a couple of them by shooting them and stabs a few, and eventually they're all dead or surrendering and running away.
Yeah, and because there's two attacks. There's an attack during the day, and then there's an attack at night.
That night they come back and take all the horses.
Yeah,
and they manage to kill one of those guys trying to take the horses, and the other guy again runs away. They had an alarm because their donkey is terrible and it's not very well tamed. And so when they tried to steal the donkey, it just went nuts and threw the guy on the ground. And that's how they became aware of it. And they shoot one.
I thought it was interesting earlier when I think the donkey goes off when
Frapp is working on it.
Yeah. And they just after they meet the Iceman, and he yells like this is the language to everybody back off, stay away because this thing is going to kick you in the head and kill you.
Well, donkeys were the original CPR machines, so you would have to shout clear before.
Yeah,
it's not a CPR machine that you say clear for.
Defibrillator.
Defibrillator.
Yeah, that.
Donkeys were the original defibrillators.
I believe it's a mule.
Okay,
sorry.
Mules were the original defibrillators, so you have to shout clear before they kick you in the chest and break all your ribs and you die. I don't know. It's just to put them out of their misery, I guess. Clear. We got one dead guy. Running Moon is worried that Heavy Eagle is after her specifically because of all these Blackfoot attacks. And the next day, they're ambushed.
And they're Amish.
The next day, they wake up Amish. They don't
Amish?
use any electricity anymore. Everybody was Amish in the 1830s. The next day, they're ambushed while traveling through the woods. Frapp is pushed down over a log and scalped.
There's a fight,
Right.
One of the Blackfoot tribe gets shot, falls off his horse, and there's a big sound when he lands.
Like he farted?
Yeah.
I pointed that out to you when that happened.
And that's another thing. I rewound it multiple times trying to figure out what it could possibly be, and I have nothing.
I have an idea. What if he farted?
Somebody farted.
Yeah. But it's was this an attempt to be funny in this moment?
This was take 7, and that was the quietest fart that the guy could land with.
They're just trying to be realistic because you lose bowel control when you die.
Yeah. That's when I convinced Addie that when people say ghosts, they're just talking about your body's last fart when you die, and that's what leaves your body. She thought I was serious. Frapp is scalped. So on top of losing a bunch of skin on the top of his head, he has to inhale this dead guy's fart.
He's also got an axe in his back.
Oh, yeah, that too. Bill runs to, because he assumes at this point that there's too many of them for him to fight on his own, and Frapp is dead. So he runs to Running Moon, and they escape together. I like the score here.
Yeah.
It's got this really cool musical moment as we show the two of them kind of on the move, but setting up various beaver traps. And he's shooting and preparing deer for dinner. He comes back from a hunt.
They have a sexy time.
Yeah. But first we see this quick moment of her. She's hiding a blanket or something that she's working on when he comes back from a hunt. And then they set up a tent on the side of a river and have sexy times. The next day, he asks her where his shirt went, and she gives him one that she made.
Which is what she was working on that she was hiding.
But where did his shirt go? Did she just make the shirt into this shirt?
I think she got rid of it. She didn't need this old shirt. You're gonna wear the shirt.
Stinky old shirt.
You're not gonna wear that old shirt anymore. I got you a new shirt.
Yeah. That's very husband and wifey.
I have more than 2 grades of laundry, okay? There's not just clean and dirty. There are many subtle levels, okay?
I hang this outside the window for 20 minutes. It's good as new.
But he's very pleased with this shirt, which is made in the style of her tribe, presumably. And he holds it up and he says,
That shines. That truly shines.
which is like the 1830s vernacular for when something's groovy.
Also,
which is what we would say today.
I thought it was because her name was Moon.
Oh. No, I think it's just a thing that mountain men said. Blackfoot warriors pursue them. They meander into a stream as though Charlton Heston were an elderly man, which is to say
what?
like a half mile an hour, just sort of one step at a time, one foot in front of the other.
I think he is an elderly man.
No,
though.
he is.
and he's not supposed to be playing a young man.
No.
Like this isn't like Dick Tracy, where Warren Beatty is just way too old to be playing Dick Tracy.
Yeah. And yet, for some reason, these Blackfoot warriors, a team in their late teens and early 20s, are unable to catch up with this guy.
Because he's Charlton Heston.
Yeah, Stunt Charlton makes considerably better progress through the river, and but suddenly the Blackfoot tribe has the high ground. They're basically lining this whole hillside as he's trying to get out of the water, and Bill fires a shot up at them, but they bear down on him and Running Moon and basically completely trample this woman to the ground with a horse, which someone got run over by a horse in this shot.
It looks extremely real.
Yeah. It's nice to know that they care as much about the horses as they do about the actors, though, I have to say.
Which is not at
all, as long as the shot works. But they take a big rock and they knock him out. But they don't kill him, they just knock him out. And he wakes up strung up in a tent with his arms like tied to the ceiling of the tent. And he keeps asking Heavy Eagle where Running Moon went until Eagle says she died.
And he's going to die in the morning.
Yeah. Eagle's face paint seems to resemble the twirly mustache of a 20s villain. Did you notice that?
Yes.
It's like a little curly thing. I wanted him to like reach up and
I know. He has a
twist
couple
the
of
end
different face paints in here, but the funny little mustache one is my favorite.
Yeah. We'll throw a picture of that on the Instagram. Bill is given the opportunity to run to a post. It's basically like a spear, like a weapon that they stab into the ground, and they give you the opportunity to run to it, pull it out of the ground, and you can defend yourself with it. But he runs to it.
It's like giving him a head start.
Right. But he runs to it and he grabs the post and continues running in that direction, at which point a team of Blackfoot characters chase him through the woods. He comes to a river where there's like a beaver dam. I don't know what you would call this thing. A beaver bubble.
It's a beaver dam. That's exactly what a beaver dam is.
I thought a dam was just like across the river.
Maybe a beaver den.
Den, sure. Or a living room. And he jumps into the river and surfaces in this beaver's living room. And there's like 3 or 4 of them in there.
Because you want to have a beaver as a friend.
Yeah.
That shit is on the lake.
Yeah.
Lakeside my ass. Lake on.
What is that from?
It's Mitch Hedberg.
So he pops up in this beaver's living room, and there's 2 or 3 of them that are inside of this little bubble of wood on the top of the water. When the Blackfoot people get to the shore, they can't see where he disappeared to. They can see the wood of this beaver dam, but they don't realize that there's a breathable area under the wood.
Well, they know that. They're not dumb. They know how beavers live.
I think they are dumb because they didn't know that.
One guy stopped and looked, and the only reason the rest of them turned a different way is because a deer ran into the bushes and made a noise, and they thought it was him.
Right. And then when their friend never came out of the water, they went home and weaved baskets.
Oh,
or
isn't
something.
this where they come back and they have the whole chase down the thing, and there's a raging river?
First, he stabs the guy.
Yeah, I like the reveal, like because the guy comes up first, and then just blood pours out of his mouth.
Yeah.
So we have Charlton hiding with all these beavers, probably feeling a little bit guilty about murdering them for his entire life because they just saved him, and then
well, they're not being very hospitable. They're sitting there hissing at him.
Yeah, I would too.
If some random dude just came into your
not
living
just a
room
random
to hide
dude,
from
but
an Indian
the
attack,
Hitler of my people surfaces in my living room.
You're gonna hiss at him?
Yeah, I'm gonna hiss at him, and that's me being polite. If the most I do to my Hitler is go away, then that's practically a greeting compared to what this person deserves. They should be eating his face. But then a hand pops out of the water and starts choking Charlton out, and he drops, and then in his place the Blackfoot guy surfaces, and like you said, he just starts gurgling blood.
Yeah.
Which is great. And then more blood comes up from the water, and then Charlton pulls the guy down. And he should have just stayed in this little cove for like a few years and learned the beaver language and just eaten them for sustenance.
Just cut to
just slowly chewing on a live beaver.
Shows up with he's got a beaver hat the next time we see him.
It's like 20 minutes later and he's wearing a beaver hat. It's just blood gushing down his face.
Did you just cut open that beaver and put it on your head?
No. Anyway.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Yeah, I did.
Yes. Word gets back to Heavy Eagle that Bill has escaped. And the messenger is ball smashed. Heavy Eagle takes off.
I thought you meant that was his name. This is Medicine Ball, and over here we have Ball Smashed.
Ball smashed. He suffered a terrible accident, and he is childless.
So Heavy Eagle isn't pleased, and he says, I'll track him myself.
Right.
And successfully does.
But they don't find him in this little wood bubble. They find him just running along a cliffside, and Heavy Eagle just blindly tackles him off a cliff, and the two of them tumble into a river. And there's this really loud music and this raging water, and you're splashing and loud, and then it just cuts instantly to the next scene where there's just like a crackling fire in a tent.
They go over the waterfall when it hard cuts.
Yeah. Well, Heavy Eagle swims ashore and sees Bill still struggling in the water, and then Bill goes over the waterfall, and then there's the cut.
Yeah. But it's just crazy. Like, halfway down the waterfall, we hard cut to Indian Village.
Yeah. But it was funny, too, because as soon as they fell in the water, I told you, like, I'm just putting in my notes, they fall all the way to a waterfall, because we know what's going to happen here.
And then it took a while.
Yeah. I was like, oh, maybe I was wrong.
Nope. You were right.
No, there's always going to be a waterfall.
Heavy Eagle gets out just before the waterfall, and then Charlton goes over and for sure dies.
Don't tell me. We're about to go over a huge waterfall.
Yep.
Sharp rocks at the bottom?
Most likely.
Bring it on.
But yeah, everything, all the sound cuts immediately when we move to this crackling fire in a tent where Running Moon, she's alive, is serving Heavy Eagle a gourd bowl with some kind of soup in it.
And he, like, kisses it into her mouth.
Yeah.
And then she just spits it back out.
Yeah.
But she doesn't spit it out. She just lets it fall out of her mouth slowly.
Yeah.
And frog's breath.
What's wrong? I thought you liked frog's breath.
Nothing's more suspicious than frog's breath.
And then he throws it in her face because he realizes this is poisoned.
And then he has his way with her.
Yeah.
This is an uncomfortable rape scene.
Really?
Yeah.
I prefer the comfortable rape scenes. Seems like there's a redundancy in this phrase.
Fair enough. This is a rape scene.
Yes, that's true. There we go. Heavy Eagle goes to the chief and he says, I'm going to get these guys. I'm going to kill them. And the chief says, hey, give it a rest, pal. You've lost this fight too many times in a row. You got to stop knocking him out and then torturing him. You got to just kill the guy. Eagle says that he's not going to do it until he gets his scalp. He suspects that Bill is going to hide with the Crow tribe because that's the only place to go in this cold winter. We cut to a pack of wolves eating a buffalo.
More like huskies.
Yeah.
Right, but I think they're supposed to be wolves.
Yeah.
Bill scares them all off to feed himself. He climbs a mountain with his brand new buffalo poncho.
Yeah, he goes through Yellowstone, which I probably would have stayed near because it seems like it probably would have been warmer.
I would think so. There's like hot springs and stuff.
Yeah, but also there's
year-round.
those really dangerous acid pools you'd want to avoid. But
yeah, unless it got really cold.
Just take a dip into that acid.
Heavy Eagle leads a team to hunt Bill down.
Well, he's leading the team out to go get the Crow.
Right. Because he thinks that Bill is there, though.
Mm-hmm.
Bill comes upon the ravaged Crow village, and he sees Heavy Eagle's work, that basically everyone in this whole town got killed because Heavy Eagle assumed that Bill would be hiding with them.
Yeah. They find Iron Belly's armor.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know if they necessarily thought he would be there, but they did say
there's nowhere for him to hide.
The only way he's going to survive this winter is being in this village. And so if we destroy the village, he's not going to survive this winter.
Yeah. Heavy Eagle has taken Medicine Ball hostage. That's the only person that they took from this village, I guess. Running Moon bribes Medicine Wolf with sustenance to tell her where Bill is because she assumes he knows, even though she's seen Bill more recently than he has.
Yeah. And they're hungry too. The whole tribe is hungry because the warriors aren't hunting. They're looking for Bill.
Yeah, they're too busy trying to kill a guy. Bill finds himself on this snowy plain, moving through an opening, and he sees a campfire with someone sitting around it. And he gets closer and realizes that it's Frapp. And he's just sitting there drinking coffee. He's like, oh my God, if I'd have known you were alive, I wouldn't have left you behind, I swear.
If I'd have known you was laying there scalped, if I'd have known you weren't dead, I never would have left you, not for nothing.
Well, you don't have to tell me that, for Christ's sake. I know that.
And then he shows off like the scar on the top of his head while they share coffee.
He says it felt queersome for a while.
Yeah. They're both just making jokes about it, and they're clearly like on the same page still. Frapp mocks him a little bit about Beaver Valley.
Say, you ever find that valley? The one that's all a-swarming with the beavers, where they run up on the banks and fight one another to get in your trap? Holler, take me, Bill Tyler, take me! Beaver, many as stars in the sky.
Running Moon gives Medicine a blanket and a horse to escape with. If he can find Bill, tell Bill where she is and that she needs him back. And that she's alive also. I don't know if she knows that he knows that. Frapp has a child bride now that he swindled off of a local tribesman. He's very proud of it. He stole one of the tribesmen's horses, and then he traded the guy's own horse for his daughter. The guy was like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. Tired of feeding extra kids. They encounter Medicine Wolf just as he's dying on this horse that he got, probably from exposure and starvation. He tells them that Running Moon is alive and that she's with the Blackfoot tribe.
And Heston totally steps on his lines.
Oh, does he?
He's like, Running Moon, she say she's alive? It's like, you can just see like, he's like, yes.
What? Running Moon. Help Medicine Wolf. Give a horse. She says she's alive. She waits.
It's just like right over what he's talking.
Yeah.
Like,
Bill decides that he's going to full on attack the Blackfoot tribe by himself. Henry Frapp offers to help, and Bill goes, nah, you stay here and sleep with your child bride. And Frapp comes anyway. He says that his child bride got traded away anyway. Like, the guy traded her for the horse again, and then he stole the horse back. Mm-hmm. So everything that happened in reverse. They meet up with Frenchie and Angry. Frenchie is the tradesman that was making fun of him for losing a fight to a girl earlier, the Seymour Cassel character. And Angry, I don't know who Angry is, but he's just an angry guy.
It just sounds like a couple of dwarves.
Yeah. The Blackfoot tribe arrives and kills Angry very quickly, and Frenchie has to bury him because it's his friend. But the Blackfoot steal the horses. Frenchie basically leads their war party right to Bill and Frapp by trying to get away. So they're all chasing Frenchie as he's burying his friend, and then he runs to Bill and Frapp and says, hey, they're chasing me. And they're like, why'd you come over here, you jerk? The Blackfoot tribe, led by Heavy Eagle, offers a parley, which, if you've seen Pirates of the Caribbean, you know means that it's supposed to be like a truce, and you're supposed to go and negotiate the terms of your agreement.
And then you trick them.
And then you trick them, and it's a lie. So it's always a lie, and Bill and Frapp know this, and so they don't go across the river. But Frenchie's like, no, I don't want to die today, so I'm going to go talk to these guys. And then they just stab him a bunch of times and then cut his head off. So they start riding around, swinging his head from their horses. Another wave of Blackfoot swing through, and Frapp takes an arrow to the chest and dies a second time. There's a weird moment here.
Are you really dead this time?
Yeah. I'm going to wait. I'm just going to hang out for a second. But there's a weird moment here after he dies where suddenly it seems like there's no danger for like a few minutes, where he's just like reminiscing and they're just talking about stuff. And then suddenly like he looks back over the log and there's Blackfoot Indians that are coming right at him as he's dying. Henry basically demands to know the truth of Beaver Valley. He's like, tell me the truth. You found it, didn't you? And he's like, yeah, I found it. It was great. And then I left for no reason. And I'm dying out here in the cold with you. He rides his horse back up to the Blackfoot village and he crashes it full speed into Heavy Eagle's horse. So hard that both of them fall off of their horses.
Like it's a head-on collision. Like literally 2 horses' heads are smashing into each other here.
Yeah.
It's horrifying.
Bill tackles Heavy Eagle into a tent and almost gets him strangled to death. But then Heavy Eagle takes a huge chunk out of Bill's arm, just bites a big gap out of his arm. And he stands up, and while Bill is reeling from this bite, he just spits out this huge chunk of meat.
Yeah.
It's really gross. And then he gets Bill cornered, and right as he's about to swing an axe down, Running Moon just blows a hole through him with a shotgun.
Yeah.
And she takes her man back. And that's the end of the movie.
And I'm really glad it ended that way because I think it was the only way it would all be okay is if she shot him and ended this.
Yeah.
So there's not like a blood feud?
Well, it's justice served, like she got her justice. We don't have any weirdness about it being
him killing more Native Americans.
Yeah.
But also, the tribe really was getting sick and tired of Heavy Eagle's crap.
Right. So I think they're good with this. And like, hey, you got rid of him. We're done. We're good. We'll just let you go your way. We'll go our way.
Yeah.
But then they leave Frapp's body up on this like funeral pyre, but
right where he died.
And I get why this is like a real thing where they would leave bodies up on these
Isn't it an Indian burial? Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a way. Yeah.
But you wouldn't leave it in the floodplain of a river where it's just immediately going to
get washed out.
Washed out of the next storm.
No, I think I would just because I want to see him again. I want to be surprised when he washes up again.
I mean, he's a good, 8-10 feet in the air. I don't think it's going to get washed out.
By the way, this is a pretty cool location to be your final resting place. I know you were commenting on how beautiful it was.
Right at the end, like the sunset and the mountains. It was beautiful.
Yeah, they shot in like 4 different national parks for the production, and all of the photography they get is gorgeous because none of it is faked. I mean, the closest thing we get to real fake material is the water rafting stuff.
Yeah.
Where you have these inserts of someone just blasting Charlton with a hose so that it looks like he's the one floating down the river. Most of the exteriors are just really, really gorgeously shot. Our director here, first-time director, Richard Lang, he went on to a lot of television work. He was a director on Beverly Hills 90210 and Melrose Place for good chunks of both shows. He also directed A Change of Seasons in 1980, so we'll get him back before the end of this year. Writer Fraser Clarke Heston, he is Charlton's son. He's the writer-director of a TV movie of Treasure Island in 1990, starring his father. He directed Second Unit on City Slickers.
I'm imagining Charlton Heston played Long John Silver?
Sure. That sounds
version?
right. That restaurant was in that movie, right? Our writer, Fraser Clarke Heston here, also played Baby Moses in the Ten Commandments.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I was right. He did play Long John Silver in the Treasure Island. And who played Jim Hawkins, but a young Christian Bale.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, then I might have seen that one.
Oh, it's got Oliver Reed, Christopher Lee. Oh my God, this movie's got an amazing cast.
Well, we won't get to it in what year?
1990, 10 years.
Wait, is that a theatrically released? It wasn't a TV movie?
It says not rated, so I'm assuming it's a TV movie.
Oh, okay. Usually it says TV. But who knows? Charlton Heston here played Bill Tyler. He was Ben-Hur and Moses. He's in Soylent Green, Omega Man. He's George Taylor in Planet of the Apes.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll be back for The Awakening later this year, which I think is a mummy movie. So that's fun.
Charlton Heston, obviously, later in his life is the NRA stuff.
Yeah.
Your feelings on those aside, I still enjoy him as an actor.
He did get a little weird at the end.
He did have what seemed to be a sense of humor about himself.
Yes.
As an actor, like his part in True Lies, where he's like this eye-patched head of this organization, which is like, what are you doing? And my favorite moment in Wayne's World 2, when he's literally dollied in to replace the gas station attendant.
Yeah, I feel like Charlton Heston he's interesting because he's a weird-looking guy. Like, he's kind of always been a weird-looking guy. And I kind of always thought he was a bad actor, but I just like the way he delivers the lines.
Yeah.
Even if he never feels like an actual person. He always feels like an actor in all of his roles, but it's still infinitely watchable.
Yeah,
I kind of feel the same way about like Shatner most of the time, where it's like he never plays a believable character, but his acting is so fun that you could just watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Keith here was Henry Frapp. He played Mitch Evers in The Parent Trap.
Yeah, that's where I recognize him from.
He's also Buckshot Roberts in Young Guns, and he played Teddy Roosevelt in The Wind and the Lion. I could see him as Teddy Roosevelt.
I know The Wind of the Lion, but I'm not hyper familiar with it. It's
Yeah.
Sean Connery and Candice Bergen.
Victoria Racimo played Running Moon. She was Nurse St. Cloud in Ernest Goes to Camp, and she plays Ramona in Prophecy.
I think it's good that we have somebody with at least some Native American heritage in one of these roles.
Yes, because that's not the case as we get further down the list. John Glover was Nathan Wyeth. He's wonderful, and I wish he was actually in more of this movie. And actually, I didn't mention it before, but the first scene where he's meeting the Charlton Heston character, he's like trying to offer him a handshake, and Charlton Heston just kind of staring at his hand like, what is happening? Who is this person?
Well, and he's completely naked.
Yeah, and he's completely naked. But it reminds me so much of in Scrooged when John Glover is trying to shake hands with Bill Murray, and Bill Murray's doing the same thing. Like, what is this guy? Why is he here? Why is he trying to talk to me? But he's Bryce Cummings in Scrooged, the guy who's basically taking over Frank Cross's job.
Yeah.
He's Daniel Clamp in Gremlins 2, the guy who owns the building. That might be. I love Scrooged, but his performance in Gremlins 2 might be my favorite from him. He's Saperstein in The Mouth of Madness. He has a couple DC connections. He's the father to a couple of bad guys. He's Lex Luthor's dad on Smallville, and he's Mark Strong's dad in the Shazam movie that just came out.
Yeah. He's also the co-conspirator or co-creator of Bane.
Oh, is he?
He's in the Poison Ivy Bane Mr. Freeze, which is what, Batman Forever?
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's like in the lab where Bane is created when Poison Ivy comes in.
I did not realize he was in that. David Ackroyd was Medicine Wolf. David Ackroyd was Trumbo.
Yeah!
Trumbo from Trumbo's World.
Yeah, I actually paused the movie for a while. I'm like, do you recognize this guy?
He is in the 6th episode of MacGyver called Trumbo's World, where he plays a guy who lives in South America and his farm is attacked by ants. He also plays a character named Antius in Xena. And he was the voice of Ezekiel Rage on Johnny Quest. I think.
Oh, he was Ezekiel Rage? We must have mentioned that.
Yeah, we have talked about that.
Because Ezekiel Rage is such a great character.
William Lucking was Jim Walker here.
That's who you called Angry.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. He was a highway patrolman in the 9th configuration. He also plays 5 different cops on Murder, She Wrote. And he played Piney in 49 episodes of Son of Anarchy. Seymour Cassel was LeBont. That's Frenchie. He plays Bert Fisher in Rushmore. That's the father of the main character kid.
I understand you're a neurosurgeon.
No, I'm a barber. But a lot of people make that mistake.
He also played Sam Catchem and Dick Tracy, and he was Esteban in Life Aquatic.
He's
a very
also,
brief role.
Yeah, he's also in Royal Tenenbaums as I believe is the elevator operator.
Yeah, he gets used by Wes Anderson a lot. Victor Jory was Iron Belly. He plays Victor Wilkinson in Gone with the Wind. He's Helen Keller's dad in The Miracle Worker. He played Lamont Cranston on The Shadow, and this was his last feature film. And then Inga Swenson.
You know that Lamont Cranston is the Shadow.
Yes.
Okay. I like.
That's true. I didn't specify that.
Oh yeah, he is the Shadow.
Yes, Lamont Cranston is the Shadow. That's his alter ego. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of man? The Shadow knows.
But shadows aren't innately fast.
Is that true?
It's from Turbo.
Turbo. We
Yeah,
needed a Turbo.
I need a
pun in
reference
here.
from Turbo.
They call me the White Shadow. Because I'm so fast, all you see is my shadow.
I don't get it.
I'm fast, like a shadow.
Yep, but shadows, they're not inherently fast.
White Shadow.
Inga Swenson plays the white singer at the Mountain Men gathering, so she must be singing at the rendezvous.
Yeah.
She played Helen Keller's mom in The Miracle Worker. So we have both of Helen Keller's parents from The Miracle Worker in this movie.
Oh, I forgot to mention for Heavy Eagle, he was strongly considered to play the part of Picard, apparently.
Oh, I don't know why I skipped him too. In Next Generation?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Stephen Macht is the actor's name. Played Running Eagle.
Yeah.
Heavy Eagle.
Heavy Eagle, sorry.
Well, and he's got some great credits.
Yeah,
he's in Monster Squad.
Right, he's Sean's dad, Del. He also plays 6 different characters on Murder, She Wrote. And then he has a credit coming up later this year that's an awesome character name, Sergeant Thor in Galaxina.
He is great in Graveyard Shift.
Oh,
where
okay.
He plays the head of the owner of the textile mill.
Graveyard Shift.
Oh yeah, it's this crazy
Is that the
Stephen
one
King.
with Ewan McGregor?
No. It's I don't know if you would know any of these people except for Brad Dourif.
Chucky.
But it's a really great movie. It's this mill where there's like a monster in the basement that keeps killing people, and ends up being, spoiler, it ends up being this gigantic bat.
Okay.
And
you know what? I heard a podcast review that movie before.
Yeah. But he plays a character named Warwick, who owns the place, and he just chews the scenery every time he's on. There's this great scene where he's like aggressively eating an apple. He is great, and Brad Dourif delivers this amazing monologue. And
he's never not great.
So, highly recommend Graveyard Shift.
We cannot neglect to mention the legend of Galgameth.
Oh yeah, who was in that?
Heavy Eagle was in this.
Heavy Eagle was in it.
Yeah.
When I was scrolling through his credits, there was one movie that stood out called The Legend of Galgameth. Which, do you know what The Legend of Galgameth is?
I don't know this one.
Look up The Legend of Galgameth. Take a look at this poster. We'll throw a picture of this poster on the Instagram.
So the IMDb describes it as a young prince fights to free his people with the help of his family mascot, a small dragon that grows upon eating metal.
Yeah. And the cover boxes make it look like it's for either preschoolers or for adults.
The little dragon looks like the baby from Dinosaurs.
It does,
and then he eats metal and turns into what looks like some sort of kaiju that's going to fight Godzilla.
Honestly, he looks a lot like Baby Godzilla from I forget which Godzilla movie that is.
Yeah, it's the one with like the little boy. I'm trying to look it up right now.
It looks magical, though.
Yeah.
I'm just going to, for no reason, include one picture of the baby dragon from Galgameth. So
God, 1996?
Yeah, 96, and the graphics look like it's... If you showed me that poster and you said, what year is this movie from, I would have said 81, tops.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it honestly looked super familiar to me. I feel like I might have seen this as a kid.
I might have, too. But Galgameth, it looks great. Jess, is this an up or down for the Mountain Men?
I went into it pretty darn skeptical because I thought I would be really bothered by the portrayal of Native Americans and treatment of women and all sorts of things in this, which I was slightly bothered by those things. But honestly, I really enjoyed the movie overall. I think it was pretty good. I give it an up.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give this a thumbs up too. It honestly I think the chemistry between Frapp and Bill is enough to totally save the movie. Like, the
Yes.
two of them feel like they're legitimately having a good time.
I'm glad that relationship came back, because when we thought he was dead after being scalped, I'm like, oh man,
There goes the last person I cared about.
Yeah, I mean their banter back and forth was really engaging.
And he just has such a great laugh, Brian Keith character, Henry Frapp. It's just whenever he cracks up about something, it I can't help but laugh with him. Up or down, Richard?
I will also give it an up. It's not exactly on the fence. It's a little bit above the fence, but I did enjoy it. And like I said, I'm always just interested. I think you're right as far as like the relationship between Frapp and Bill.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, this is like, I would prefer it was just more of this.
Yeah, it feels like a Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau just arguing with each other, grumpier old men type.
And this was long after like Jeremiah Johnson, which is, similar themes of mountain men and Native American attacks and whatnot. But I liked it. Yeah.
Where does this go on your letterbox, Jess?
So it's pretty high up there, actually. Well above the Windows threshold. It's I don't know, it's about 18 or 20 down on my list. It's between Little Miss Marker and The Last Married Couple in America.
Okay. Richard?
I'm putting all my Westerns in a row here. I'm gonna put this just below Tom Horn, which is just above the Gong Show movie. But it's also in line with the Long Riders.
That classic Western, the Gong Show movie.
Well, I mean, because it goes Long Riders, Tom Horn, and now Mountain Men.
Yeah. On kind of a combination of those two notes, I am putting it above the Long Riders and just below Last Married Couple, which is also relatively high on my list, I would say. Yeah, this was an enjoyable one. I think that's about everything for this one. If you guys have any thoughts you'd like to share, we are Vintage Video Pod on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Letterboxd, where, as I've said before, you can find each of our full movie rankings for the year. We can also be found at vintagevideopodcast.com. Please consider rating us on iTunes to help people find the show, and if you take the time to leave us a review, we will thank you personally in an upcoming episode. If you're feeling especially generous, you can support the show through patreon.com/vintagevideopodcast. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you'll join us next time when we'll be discussing Happy Hooker Goes Hollywood, which IMDb summarizes like so. A prostitute writes a bestseller book about her profession, which attracts the attention of a studio executive who attempts to get it made into a movie. We leave you now with the trailer for Happy Hooker Goes Hollywood.
They're back again. Xaviera Hollander and her girls. They're looking sexier.
Here come some of the beautiful participants.
Have you slept with anyone interesting since coming to Hollywood?
You mean besides you?
Xaviera Hollander's new movie, Happy Hooker Goes Hollywood.
Can you make it in Hollywood? I want this book to be a blockbuster movie. You hear me? Give me the rights to this book. You get me this girl. Get me Xaviera Hollander.
How do you make movies? You make movies with money.
Xaviera, they'd have to drag me out of here. They just might have to.
Money comes easy to the girls of Xaviera Hollander.
Tonight will be the most memorable night of your life.
Come and get your bouncy bouncy.
Bouncy, bouncy. Don't say a word, my love.
Xaviera.
Just come to me.
They're more beautiful than ever.
Someone get some champagne. We're all gonna make a movie.
Starring Martine Beswick, Adam West, Phil Silvers, Richard Deacon, Army Archer.
Welcome to the world premiere of The Happy Hooker. Xaviera Hollander, the star of The Happy Hooker.
Xaviera Hollander's Happy Hooker Goes Hollywood. She's coming to a theater near you.